I'm Christine Cefalo, and welcome to Work Talk, where we discuss the most important issues facing your business with some of the smartest minds in the business. Today, we're going to talk about women in technology-related careers, including how companies can support women, how women can grow their careers in tech, and best practices for achieving work-life balance while growing your career. Here with me today are Olga Braylovskiy, Vice President, Workforce Technology at Intuit, Vicki Huff Eckert, Global New Venture and Innovation Leader at PwC, and Leighanne Levensaler, Senior Vice President, Corporate Strategy at Workday. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
I recently read a statistic that just 26% of computing jobs are held by women. What is it going to take to get more gender equality in the workforce?
First, we need to focus on the pipeline. And it starts all the way from elementary school age and goes all the way through the college. And if you look at statistics, since 1980s, percentage of female college graduates with computer science and engineering degrees went significantly down. I was recently at Cal Poly talking to a second-year electrical engineering student, and she feels isolated, seeing in big classes very few female students. There are very few role models among professors, so it definitely continues to be a big problem.
Yeah, I think we absolutely need to fix the pipeline problem. But we also have a leaky bucket problem. We can keep filling the bucket, but if half of women are leaving technology in just a few years, then we've got a real problem. And the reasons they're leaving is because they cite that we have male-dominated cultures where they don't feel like they're, included.
You're absolutely right. And I think, Leighanne, one of the big things for us in retaining women is that cultural component. If you look in just the tech industry, and the larger tech companies have fabulous examples of women leaders, but when you go to the smaller tech, it's almost a tale of two valleys in Silicon Valley. You have much more male-dominated organizations because they don't have that culture and that support that you have in larger organizations. So it shows how important culture is in actually keeping the bucket from leaking.
Right. I think transparency is extremely important. And, look at your workforce data. At Workday, we've made our executive scorecards, we've put diversity-related and inclusion-related metrics all over our scorecard. We pay attention to that. We communicate it. We say it's important. We track it. And people understand that this is part of the fabric, part of the culture of our organization.
Research shows that a lot of women drop out of technology careers within a few years. What can we do to help them stay in?
I think we have to really look at the work environment and ensure that the work environment is as inclusive and encouraging as possible for women. I think we have to examine all of our talent practices to ensure that there's no structural bias. I think we need to do sensitivity training on unconscious bias because we all have it.
I think also what's critical is sponsorship. We talk a lot about mentorship, which is important. The way I draw the distinction between the two, mentorship opens the minds, sponsorship opens the doors.
That's great. I think sponsorship is so important, and it does tie to the two together. So at PwC, we are a member of the UN Compact on He for She. And He for She is an initiative that we signed where our male partners actually sign a pledge to be sponsors of our females in the organization. And that is such an important global initiative for us, and one that's been incredibly successful. And when you look at, I also want to emphasize, you don't have one sponsor and you don't have one mentor, and it's not a woman or just a man. You want to have a variety. It's almost like your own personal board.
Yes.
That's giving you, and that board's going to change over time too.
I love that idea of a personal board of directors where you have people that are holding you accountable, pushing you, but also, really advocating for your best interest.
Leighanne, how does gender inequality negatively impact tech companies?
Well, if 1 in 4 tech workers are actually female today, then we really have a problem of building empathy, don't we? I mean, if you think about it, the woman is the economic buyer for the family. They are the ones that are on social media the most. They are using their mobile device the most, making the most mobile app purchases. And if you don't have that in the design process and the decision-making process for a company, then you lose that crucial female perspective.
At Intuit, we pride ourselves being an innovation company and continue to reinvent ourselves over the last 30 years. And without having diverse perspectives on the team, at times very different and conflicting in a healthy way, innovation is going to be impacted.
Well, and we can see in consulting where increasingly tech is being marketed across all of the businesses.
Yeah, every business is a digital business today.
Completely, right?
So what steps can a company take to encourage women to take tech careers, and what are some examples used in your companies?
Yeah, so I think it's so important that you start at the top on the tech careers. Technology is underlying every opportunity today from innovation, and we increasingly are looking at programs like the sponsorship of Anita Borg Institute, which is for women in technology. But candidly, it comes down to sponsorship as well, and having women leaders in roles that can really provide the visibility that it is possible.
It absolutely starts at the top. And we are very fortunate at Intuit to have 40% of senior CEO staff being women, which serve as great role models and sponsors for other women. Inclusiveness is so important for women. So creating organizations, communities within a company is really important. There are a lot of activities and events around technical women at Intuit. So everything from circles, from being involved in Girls Who Code, to Vicki mentioned Anita Borg Institute, to attending Grace Hopper, which is the largest gathering of women who are in computing, and Intuit sent 104 women last year to Grace Hopper, which shows by itself commitment.
That's great.
And we share a lot of similarities here at Workday with Intuit. Half of our senior leadership staff is women here, and it does start with the top. And we've made deep investments in supporting mentorship programs, internships, Girls Who Code, as well as supporting legislation and industry-leading events to help encourage females to get into technology.
Networking is also very important to career growth. What networking strategies would you recommend?
Networking is absolutely critical, and you have to have a broader network to be able to, I think, really expand and be successful in business. This industry has so much investments it puts behind marketing, the conferences, the alliances, and just the education and knowledge. That gives professionals at every level a tremendous amount of opportunity to get out there and meet and get to know folks.
And I encourage women not only to make it a priority, but also just build upon relationships they already have and make it natural. And sometimes it's around a particular problem that you need to solve. Reach out around best practices. So it's not, the key with networking is not to do it in a forced way when you need something, right? It is to build the relationships that endure over the years. And Leighanne and I are lucky to have one of those relationships.
Absolutely. Our networking and the relationship that we've established over several companies over many years has created this very comfortable space to talk about the challenges that we face at work and with raising children and working and being a leader in an organization. And I think it's such a positive and inspiring relationship for me. And I enjoy that with so many women, but it does take the effort.
And I think one final point on networking I would make is every event can result in some very interesting and important connections.
You never know who you're going to meet.
Exactly. Yep. And then it's a positive domino effect.
How can women grow into an executive role while managing work-life balance?
No matter if you're a mom or if you have elderly parents or whatever your personal situation is, it requires you to figure out the times when you can really push and gun it and the times that you have to take care of yourself and take care of your family or your personal needs or loved one needs. And I think that is such an important thing to understand and focus on. PwC has done a lot on flexible careers and really trying to find a way to help our leaders keep their foot in the game so that they can continue to keep their skills fresh while they're actually taking that time that's really critical from a family standpoint.
One of the things that Intuit is doing in India is a program called Intuit Again, which allows women that have been out of workforce to reintegrate. And they have an equivalent to internship for a period of 6 to 9 months, which then leads to a full-time job. And we have a very significant percentage, close to 90%, who secured full-time jobs through that program.
I love that.
On the work-life balance, what's interesting is I came to learn a while ago that there is no balance, ultimately. It's integration. And how do you integrate? Brad Smith, our CEO, talks about a concept of crystal moments. And those are fragile moments that you don't want to miss. And we all need to decide for ourselves what those crystal moments are.
Absolutely. And you have to, as you mentioned, you have to radically prioritize your time. You have to be intentional and plan. I plan every hour, and I'm getting better at this, to make space for those crystal moments, to be able to recognize them and really be present for your family and for your work when absolutely needed.
Well, March 8th marks International Women's Day. The theme for this year is that in order to have a more gender-inclusive world, we need to be bold for change. What's the boldest step a business leader can take to help to create a more gender-inclusive world?
Now, I am so proud that Workday recently signed the Equal Pay Pledge. I think it's a bold move. I think that organizations need to recognize that a diverse workforce is really good for business, but it's also just important for the community.
Yeah, I think it's the leadership starting at the top. I think leaders appointing capable women into roles that allow them to be role models within the organization, so important.
Make gender the top priority in hiring.
Any final thoughts on this topic?
View gender diversity as a challenge and opportunity, not a hurdle. It's easy to point out what's not working well, but we all pointed out excellent examples of what is working well. And I think if we take it on as a challenge and continue making, even if it is at times what it feels like small progress, it's the step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's engaging in tech and understanding that tech is really what business is going to be as we continue to progress into the future. And if we really understand how much tech is influencing the world, everyone has to be in tech. And understanding that, I think women will have an easier way of wrapping their minds around committing to technology roles, technology positions.
And we can use tech to help organizations be more transparent about their practices and their progress.
Absolutely.
And to set targets and to celebrate success.
Today we've been talking about women in technology-related careers and how we can grow and support them. I'd like to thank my guests, Olga, Vicki, and Leighanne. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for joining us on Work Talk.
Thank you.